Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today will be the first video in the Body, Mind, Spirit Connection series of videos that I'm going to do, linking how physical body parts are very much related to certain emotions, certain belief systems, certain thoughts, and certain diseases as well, and how they are linked to certain types of thought, emotion, spiritual experience, and so on. And today I'm starting with the eyes. I did write an article on my written blog on my website about this already, so please do go and have a look at that, because there will be information in that article that I won't be talking about today, mainly because I realised it would probably be quite a long video if I put all the information in the article into a video. And a lot of it does overlap anyway. So all the different diseases for the eye that I've put in the article, a lot of it does overlap. Yeah, so please do go look at that. I'll put a link in the description below. So the eyes, I know a lot of people like to comment on my eyes, that they stick out a bit, and you know, maybe that's reflective of me wanting lots of information, being interested in lots of things and wanting to have my eyes open, if you like, to more information so that I can absorb it and take it in. Maybe that's got something to do with why in this life at least I've got eyes that stick out. Who knows? So, generally speaking, the eyes, when we look at them physiologically, they take in light, don't they? They take in information in the form of light, and our eyes convert that information via reactions in our rod and cone cells at the back of the eye into nerve impulses, a bit like information going down an electrical wire, if you like. It travels back through the optic nerve, through various parts of the brain actually. Some of the information goes more into the basic parts of the brain so that your biological rhythms can be correct. So, you know, if you get the right amount of light in the morning and not too much light from modern screens at night, then you're probably more likely to have better circadian rhythms, as they are called. So a better body clock. So you're probably going to be producing certain hormones and certain signaling molecules in your body and your brain at the right times of the day, and therefore you're more likely to sleep better, have better hormonal balance, etc., etc. So that's where some of the information goes. The rest of the information goes to the back of the brain, where it's processed in the optical lobes, the cortex at the back, and then the information passes back to the front of the brain where you make sense of it, so where you actually see, if you like. So I've gone into quite a bit of detail in my written article about the physiology of the eye and the different processes that I've just explained very basically, so that you can understand what part of the eye might be affected with your particular problem, if you have a problem, so that you can more easily link it to certain beliefs, certain thought patterns. So, for example, with long-sightedness and short-sightedness, it's going to be affecting the lens at the front and maybe the muscles that pull on the lens so that you can focus forwards or backwards. So that can help you get an understanding of why the lens might be affected with long or short-sightedness, and where in the eye that you can feel into if you want to use some of the energy healing techniques that I've shown in other videos. So you can target that and try and feel into it, get some pictures of the eye so that you can feel into that specific area and send energy there. Generally speaking, the eyes on an energetic level represent how we see things. Pretty obvious, isn't it? So how do you see the world? I guarantee you don't see the world exactly the same as anyone else. We all have very similar beliefs of this reality because we are all human, and therefore we have a certain set of beliefs that are very, very similar, and many of them are the same exactly. So we all believe in gravity, for example. We all pretty much most of us anyway, believe that we need to eat, otherwise we'll die. So we have a similar core set of beliefs. So experiencing reality whilst being human, we have very similar beliefs and we see reality in a very similar way. Very different to how another animal might see it, or a plant that doesn't have eyes might sense reality. But there are differences between us. We know in science that they've discovered certain people have more rod and cone cells, so they can literally see more colours, and they can see more distinctions between the colours too. So yeah, some people can see more into the infrared spectrum, some people can see more into the ultraviolet spectrum, and some people just have really good visual acuity, so they can distinguish more different colours that are slightly different compared to another person. So the more open you are to this reality and different beliefs and different ways of thinking, then you're more likely to see more with your physical eyes. There is a bit of a correlation there. So if you have a limited point of view in one way or another, if you're quite resistant to seeing things from a different point of view, if you're quite resistant to learning and allowing more information in, then you're probably quite likely to have some issues with your physical eyes. So an example, this is clearly an example of how the physical body is reflective of the emotional body, the mental body, the astral body, and so on, and vice versa. So let's have an example here. So let's say you have some sort of blindness, and I've listed quite a few different disease processes of the eyes that can result in partial blindness, whether it be color blindness or whether it be blurring of the vision, whether it be one part of the vision being affected or not. There are different ways that you can see less and be blind, if you like. So blindness in one way or another, whether it be color blindness or getting blurred vision because of cataracts or any one of the other diseases I have listed in my article. That's very much reflective of being resistant to seeing something from a certain point of view, one way or another. And of course, some of those diseases tend to develop later in life. Some diseases do progress, such as glaucoma, for example. You get more blurred vision as it progresses. And this can be representative of people who, start to make up their minds about certain things and become very definite that that's the right answer, that there's no other answer, that's the belief that it is. They're very resistant to other ways of thinking or ways of seeing things, and therefore they get stuck in their ways, and they shut off other ways information can come to them, other points of view, other opinions, other articles, other things they could be reading. And so, blindness develops because of that. So a big part of a lot of eye problems, especially when it comes to the ability to see in lots of detail, and therefore related to whatever disease it may be that clouds the vision or makes you blind in one way or another, a big part of turning that around energetically and therefore starting to affect your physical eyes and helping them to get better is to learn, to open yourself up to new information, to allow new information in, rather than putting blinders on and shutting yourself out and digging your head in the sand, or being stubborn. So being stubborn quite often will affect your eyes. So open yourself up, learn something new. Do the beliefs you have any validity anymore? Maybe they helped you at some point in earlier in your life. If you're finding that you're losing your vision in one way or another, you've got to ask yourself, do my beliefs actually work? Are they useful for me? Am I blinding myself to something that might be better for me, even though at the moment I think that that's definitely the truth. Maybe there's something more. Maybe there's a different way of viewing life. Maybe there's something more you'd like to try out in life. So learning is a big part of helping with eye problems. So trying out something new, going to meet people and groups of people and doing activities that you never would have done before, just giving it a try. Maybe it's a case of learning a musical instrument if you've never played one before, trying to learn a new language, looking at lots of different spiritual and religious points of view so that you can get a broader picture and explore more and question things more and be curious rather than saying, well, that's the only truth and everything else is rubbish. Maybe you should, read around a bit, explore a bit, meet different people, meet different psychics, different healers, different psychologists, different people in general, so you can have all sorts of different conversations and open you up to something new. Maybe it's traveling somewhere. Traveling really is an eye-opener. Going to different countries and seeing how people live, rather than just seeing the news about what's going on around the world. You're going to see more and know the truth more if you travel more and meet new people, try new things. Maybe do a course in something that previously you were bad at or that you didn't like. Maybe that might give you some new ability or new power. So goal setting very much comes into eye issues too, setting a goal, because a lot of the eye issues are related to you not being the person you want to be, resisting being the person you want to be. You can't see yourself being that person. You can't see how to get there. So sometimes doing those little baby steps each day, no matter how small it may be, to take you slowly and slowly towards being the person you truly wish to be, the best version of yourself that you wish to be. Not what anyone else wants you to be, what you would like to be. Just making those little steps so that you empower yourself, so that each step you make, you can say to yourself, okay, I do have some power over my life. I do have the ability to strengthen myself and to move forwards. I can see how to get there now. I can see how I can be the person I wish. I can see how to have the happiness, the joy, the freedom, the abundance, whatever it may be, that you couldn't previously see that you could get. And if we look into short-sightedness and long-sightedness as an example. So short-sightedness quite often is a fear of the future. You're not willing to look at the future. Maybe you had a really fantastic childhood, really enjoyable, you loved it, maybe you had a great time at school. And since you left school, it's not so much fun. You don't enjoy life. And so you don't really like looking at the future. Especially if you are doing a job you don't like and you can't see how to get the funds to do the things you like or to be free or whatever it may be. And so you keep returning to the past and thinking about the past and how wonderful it was. And, oh, if only I would have done things different. Or maybe there was some sort of trauma in the past. Maybe you had a terrible upbringing and that trauma made you very fearful of what might happen in the future. So whether you had a positive past or a negative past doesn't really matter. Each one can make you resist the future and not be willing to look at the future. So again, goal setting, learning is a big part of helping with short-sightedness. That you're more willing to look to the future and, more importantly, do those things in the present time so that you can have a better future. Because let's face it, if you're looking to the future too much, that can be a problem too. And that's where far-sightedness comes in. Your far-sightedness or long-sightedness, where you can see really far but not very good at looking at things close, the opposite of short-sightedness. that's very much a fear of being in the present. You know, you're always looking to the future. Oh, in the future I will be happy. In the future I will have my abundance or my partner or whatever else it may be that you want. That you say to yourself, once I get, then I'll be happy. So people who have long-sightedness tend to be like that. They tend to look at the future too much. Everything will be all right in the future. Or sometimes farsightedness can be a fear of the future, spending too much time thinking of the future and what bad might come into it. And obviously the main solution to that is really enjoying being in the present, being okay and happy with what you have now. Each time you make a baby step towards the person you want to be, you enjoy it. You enjoy the journey rather than thinking, I will be happy once that happens in the future. I guarantee you that with most people who are like that the ego, once you have accomplished something, will already move on to the next thing it wants to do. So you're still not happy. So learning to be okay in the present is really important there. So yeah, that's generally speaking the sorts of belief systems, the sorts of thoughts, and of course the emotions that go with those that are related to I issues. You know, being willing to take in information and therefore learning, goal setting, so being willing to act on being the person you wish to be, making those steps towards so that you can see that you can be that person. These are probably the main themes I would say related to I issues. There is a lot more detail in my written blog about this, so please do go and look at that, where I do go through more specific diseases and more specifics. I talk about, in fact, let's talk a little bit about a really common one with awakened, if we can call ourselves that, people, in whatever sort of awakening it is, to whatever degree. A lot of us have left eye issues, and I've been coming up with a lot of people have been coming to me with left eye issues amongst the awakened or new age or whatever you want to call us people. The left eye seems to be quite significant. I've been told as well that ETs tend to have left eye issues when they use our technology and look at Earth and all the issues going on down here. Make of that what you will. But yeah, a lot of people with left eye. The left eye tends to be the more receptive side, the more feminine side, if you like, the side that tends to receive more. So generally speaking, the left side of the body is like that more than the right, though of course you do receive on the right as well. So the left eye does tend to get affected quite a bit. If you don't like what you see in this reality, if you're resistant to what you see on the TV, on the news, in the newspapers, or even outside, if you live in an area that has some troubles, troubles with nature or violence or whatever else it may be. Maybe you don't like governmental changes that are coming along, like all the things that have been happening in the UK recently. If you don't like what you see, then you tend to resist seeing that, and that can be another reason why you end up with eye issues, including different forms of blindness or blurring of the vision. You don't want to see it. I'm resistant to this. And the left eye tends to be the more receptive eye in that regard. So a lot of these new age people do tend to have more and more issues with the left eye. I've worked with quite a few people with pains and aches in that left eye, struggling to focus. And this is a key reason. So yes, you will see a lot of crazy stuff going on in this world. It's a very dualistic world, so there's a lot of bad stuff, but there's also a lot of good stuff on here. And part of the spiritual journey is learning to be okay with that at the same time as, working on ourselves and making ourselves better, but learning to be okay with that, learning to know that it's okay to look at that information and it doesn't have to affect you. It doesn't have to influence you or force you to be a certain person or do a certain thing. So knowing that you can be okay looking at this stuff without it affecting you is a key part of working with those left eye issues that have been quite common. Okay, so I'm not going to go into as much detail as I did with the article, otherwise I'll be here for ages, but I hope that's useful. I hope that's given you a few clues if you do have any eye issues, or if you have any friends who have eye issues, how you can help them. Please do leave some comments below, or email me if you want me to have more direct help with your particular eye issues. And I will see you in the next video.